What did that kid in your school get expelled for? Remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. High school, senior year. He was the stereotypical computer geek and pocket protector kid. Very smart, generally quiet, was nice but awkward. He somehow found a way to access the part of the school's storage network where teachers could save their files. He made copies of thousands of quizzes, tests, answer keys, and so on. Lots were from his AP US history teacher, but I was told he had stuff from most of the teachers. He sold copies of answer keys and exams to kids. Eventually, someone told the school administrators. They contacted the police, and while he was at school one day, they went to his house with a warrant and confiscated his computers, and arrested him when he came home. The teachers were angry. Every compromised test had to be remade. Hundreds of hours of work for his history teacher, who had to remake all his lesson materials for the year all over again. They threatened him with the possibility of being prosecuted as an adult, that each file was its own felony, and he was looking at thousands of charges. This was ultimately to just get a plea deal, which was something like a lot of community service, expulsion from the school, and probation. I think if he made it through probation, it would all end up sealed or something. He shouted, "Get your tits out!" at the Queen of England as she was driving by. A guy at my secondary school built a homemade pipe bomb and brought it in to show his science teacher. The school was evacuated and a bomb squad from Edinburgh had to be called out. He threw a hammer at a student, narrowly missing another student and lodging it in the wall. They'd been throwing plastic cutlery at him, and he'd had enough. Honestly, they were poking a sleeping bear, because he'd made it clear from the day he arrived that he had some sort of mental condition that made him a compulsive liar, but in the terrifying way. Like he'd told me directly about how he offed his own mother, a lady who regularly dropped him off at school, so no duh, it was a lie, with a screwdriver. People at my school were very, very dumb, but he got expelled immediately. He recorded himself pleasuring himself and leaving the VHS tape in the AV room. We had one kid get expelled for punching the vice principal in the face. The vice principal later got fired for naughtily harassing the female students. The face puncher was and still remains a hero. When I was a junior in high school, the senior prank that year was to steal all the science videos from the office, all the VHS tapes, and record naughties onto them at various parts, and then return the tapes. For years, teachers would be putting on tapes about fossil fuels or mitochondria or some other stuff, and 20 minutes in, boom! Dick and butt at full volume. Science department finally gave up trying to find them all and just threw them all away. The year of the prank the student organized them was expelled because somebody spilled the beans. There was a kid in the school who was notorious for not showering. It was absolutely disgusting, but he didn't have the best home life, so no one was really going to say anything. One day, the kid was sitting behind him, decided to light up the no-shower's greasy hair on fire. It went up like a fireball, and the smell that ensued would make an onion cry. Needless to say, the kid with the lighter didn't make it through the rest of the day. Went to kindergarten with a kid named Marshall, who was always getting in trouble, until one day, they finally just kicked him out of the school for spraying a fire extinguisher all over the room, and somehow getting his own human poo in no longer than 9 cubby holes where we kept our lunches. You have to be a rock star to get it kicked out of that kindergarten. A kid in my high school bought an airsoft gun in his truck on one day of the year that my school decided to perform a modified lockdown, which is really just a different way of saying "We're searching your stuff for drugs." So he gets called outside to unlock his car so the police can further analyze this obviously fake, see-through plastic toy gun. And what they do? Payday, fellas, we got exactly what we're looking for. The poor kid got expelled. I'll never forget him sitting in chemistry with the windows open at the front of the school when he drove by in his truck screaming, "Frick!" insert high school's name. His adopted mom was a 7th grade teacher. Doesn't really mean anything, but just an interesting bit of information. That's so dumb. The poor guy didn't even bring it inside. Who cares if it's on school property? I'd understand if it was black and had the orange tip removed, but nope. Went to an all-guys Catholic high school. One of the teachers was trying to become a deacon or something, and had to videotape himself hosting a service. He taught religion, so he used a class period to take his students to the chapel and record his service. He had to go back to the classroom for something, and one of the kids got up and began desecrating everything. Mock blowjobs of the candles, humping the crucifix, fake sermons, the whole 9 yards. The kid returns to his seat before the teacher ever gets back, and all of the students don't say anything. The camera was rolling the entire time. This kid wanted to drop out of school, but his parents wouldn't let him. He told the principal that there was a gun in the bathroom, an airsoft gun, and once he and the principal and vice principal arrived at the bathroom and police were called, he told them he bought the gun into the school. He put a porn VHS in class where he knew it was going to be having a chill day. He hid the remote in his pants, so the teacher was kind of freaking out. I don't know why the teacher didn't think of unplugging the TV, to be honest. He then turned off the lights and threw a desk at the teacher. I'm not even joking with this one. Stealing water. Oh my god. He drew almost over 1,000 pictures of peepees each on a separate piece of paper, and then proceeded to skip down the hallway during class and toss them all over the school. When he was brought to the office, he showed them a picture of him doing it. He asked the principal if he could keep the picture as a memory. Threatening to bring his dad's gun to school to off all the preps and jocks. He also had a hit list in his locker. Threw another kid face first into a brick wall. The kid had to go to the hospital. He pulled his wee-wee out and rubbed it on the girl's back and just wouldn't stop. Ew. It was the last week of 8th grade. This kid named Damien threw a carton of milk at a dean. The dean yelled, "Damien, you are expelled." He ran off and I never saw him again. Some say to this day he is still running. He was caught selling a happy powder in the library, pouring gasoline all over the locker room and setting it on fire. Okay, so we were in the middle of class that took place on the 5th floor of our school. And there was this kid who in the middle of class stands up, goes to the window, proceeds to open it, and then just jumps off. The entire class watched in terror, and the teacher just stood there for a second in disbelief of what she had just witnessed. In reality, this kid had jumped off a ledge under the window as some sick prank to make the rest of us think he just unalived himself. He got expelled in the following week, and we had listed to our counselor for a week about why stuff like this isn't funny and why unaliving yourself is bad. And just so you know, this was not the only reason he was expelled. This was just the final straw that forced the school to expel him. He was known for fooling around a lot and pranking the teachers all the time and doing dangerous stuff, like starting fires in the middle of class and so on. He made an effort to get into shape. He joined the gym and weight training class that just so happened to have a lot of football players in it. He was constantly bullied by a few, even though the more respectable players stepped in at times, so it would stop. After 2 swirlies in 2 days, he bought a knife to the school. Cue the third swirly, he pulls a knife and they stop. He was expelled and nothing happened to the bullies. This is a weird one. I'll preface this by saying the kid was on borrowed time. He had a history of being a jackass, but was a really funny kid. So it's early junior year, and it's lunchtime. 2 people jokingly said to Kevin that they would pay him $60 to piss his pants. Money talks, and he stood up from his seat and within moments pissed his pants. They recorded the event, and the video was passed around the school. Maybe a day or 2 later, he was called to the office and was promptly expelled for whatever reason. The kicker here is that the 2 kids never paid up their money until the disciplinarian forced them to pay Kevin instead of detention. Why would you get expelled for peeing yourself? I don't care if he was on borrowed time, that's stupid. Right after the Virginia Tech shooting, one kid wrote VA Tech today in a bathroom stall. They gathered everyone into one assembly, which was the stupidest thing possible, by the way, and placed the school on lockdown. The kid didn't have a gun or anything, he just wrote it because teenagers and impulse control. But hey, we made CNN. This one kid had a broken zipper in his pants or something, so he was sticking his finger through it, asking people to shake his hand. He asked the teacher and got sent to the dean and expelled. Found a gun laying on the ground on the way to school. He thought it was insanely dangerous, so he picked it up and put it in his locker so it was secure and safe. He then immediately went to a teacher to report it. He was expelled. 0 tolerance in action, people, and that is some grade A BS right there. He bought a bullet to class. Not a gun, just a single bullet. I asked him about it, and he said that it was for a presentation in history class. Apparently somebody saw it during lunch, and the principal flipped about it. Somebody flipped the table during class. There was a super senior, which means there have been in senior year for many years, at my high school. Each super indicates the extra year you stay at high school. So this dude was already in his 6th year of high school. I was a freshman when I met him. I was a junior at this time I'm referencing. He bought a shuriken during lunch. He demonstrates how he was learning to throw one. He throws it at a wall and it just bounces off and lands at a different lunch table. Fortunately, no one was harmed. Unfortunately for that dude, the people at the table got very upset and yelled loud enough to get the school security guard's attention. Yes, we had school security guards. The next week, I hear he got expelled. I would see him again as a super senior during my senior year. The worst part is, I don't remember seeing him during graduation. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the stories I have given you. If you enjoyed, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out my links in the description below, and leave a comment with your thoughts or stories. I will see you all next time.